Hello everyone, I welcome you all in this lecture. So in today's lecture we are going to study what is a quasi-static process, why there is a need to define a quasi-static process. Okay, so this one will study quasi-static process. Okay, so the word quasi means is almost, and static we all know without motion. Okay, or no motion. So from the name we can conclude that quasi-static process means a process which is almost in no motion condition, means a process which is occurring very slowly such that we are not able to see that it is moving. Okay, so if I want to write a definition for quasi-static process, I can say if the process occurs if the process occurs very slowly such that the system is almost in equilibrium at every state, then the process is called quasi-static. Okay, and the process, or we can say a quasi-static process, is represented by a continuous line. Okay, so by definition we can see that if a process is occurring very slowly such that our system is almost in equilibrium at every point or every state, then that process we can say quasi static process. Okay, on the other hand, if I want to say what is non quasi static, okay, so it's very simple. A non quasi static is, sorry, is a fast process, and it is represented by a dashed line. Okay, so now we know what is the quasi-static process and what is a non-quasi-static process. Now let me explain what do you really mean by a quasi-static process. Okay, let me consider there is a place which is called A. Okay, and there is another place which is called a B. And if I want to move from place A to place B, okay, and I want to, sorry, and if I want to plot a graph between my position, sorry, my position x and time, because I'm moving in only x direction, y direction is constant. So I want to plot a graph between my position x and the time. Okay, so let us assume I started running very fast, and from point A I reached point B. Okay, or let me take another example. I hope you all would have seen a TV series named Flash. Okay, so Flash क्या करता है? He runs very fast. So if I am taking that Flash is moving from this place A to place B, and I am telling you to draw the graph or plot a graph between the displacement x and time t. Think, can you draw it if the, I am moving with the speed with which Flash moves? So what will be the problem? Firstly, let me tell you, you cannot draw. Why? Because the moment you started noticing the time, he will be there. Okay, so you cannot define that at time t is equal to 1 minute he was there at this position, or at time t is equal to 3 minutes or 4 minutes he was there, and 5 minutes he was there, and 6 minutes he was there. You cannot define at which time he was at which position. So I know only initial position and final position. Okay, so I can define like this was initial position at time when I started, let this, and this was the final position, first and second. Okay, so I know only initial position and final position. In between I don't know at which time what was the value of x. So I cannot draw a line, or I cannot draw a line joining this point 1 or 2. Okay, so if on the other hand, if I am moving slowly, very slowly from point A to point V, then what will happen? At every point or every time moment, I have a position with respect to x. So what I can do, I can draw just what is at this time value of x this. Similarly, at another time value of x this. Then another time x this, x this, x this. So I can easily join these points. So I can tell you what is the path I have followed for going from point A to point A to point B. Okay, so for getting this line, or for path what I have followed, to know the path what I have followed, the process should be slow. Otherwise, I am not able to draw, or I am not able to find out this path. Okay. Similarly, when I am considering, let us consider a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, so this is one position of piston, and this one is the another position. Let me say it one, and this is two. So here, what is happening? At time t is equal to 0, the piston was at this one position. Okay, at time t is equal to 0. Okay, and at time t is equal to t1, piston is at point 2. Okay, so now if I am saying, please draw a plot between pressure and volume inside the cylinder. Okay, so I know that what is the initial position, point 1. So at initial position I can easily, let let us say that this is the volume at initial position and this is the pressure. So if I draw the lines, intersection point will come at this point. So this is the point 1. Okay, so initial condition I know the initial condition, and at some time, after some time t1, the final condition I can easily find out that what is the volume in this area. So let us say the volume is this much and the pressure is this much. So after drawing line, the intersection point will be here. So this will be the point 2. Okay, so now I know the point 1 and point 2, और मैं कह सकता हूँ कि मुझे पता है व्हाट सिस्टम की स्टेट 1 क्या थी और सिस्टम की स्टेट 2 क्या है. Okay, I know what is the state 1 at which system was, and now what is the present state 2 in which system is right now. But I don't know how system reached from point state 1 to state 2. There are number of ways through which system can reach. Let me show you one or two. Okay, there can be infinite possibilities how I can go right here, then I can move up. Okay, other I can go up, then go here. I can go directly. I can take upward curve. I can take downward curve. Okay, so there are infinite paths that system can follow if it is going from state 1 to state 2. Okay, but we don't know which path the system has undergone. So if we don't know, how do we calculate the other parameters? Okay, so for that we consider this process as a quasi-static process, so that at every point I can find out the value of pressure and volume. So let me draw. If at point 1 pressure and values was this, let us take that at point 2 pressure and values, the intersection point was this. At another point pressure value was this, another point this. So I know in between states, so I can easily find out the path that the system has followed for changing its state from state 1 to state 2. Okay, so that is the need to define a quasi-static process. If I am not defining a quasi-static process, I will not be able to find out the path the system has gone or followed to reach from state 1 to state 2, or why that path is that much important to find out. That you will know in further in coming lectures. Okay, so right now we know that why it is necessary to assume a quasi-static process. Let me tell you, quasi-static process are not practical process that you can easily visualize. Quasi-static process are not practical process. Okay, means in practical examples, you cannot use the quasi-static process. Okay, or in our day-to-day life, if any process or any system is working, it cannot work on a quasi-static process, because this quasi-static process is infinitely slow. Okay, this process is infinitely slow. So अगर कोई भी प्रोसेस इन्फाइनेटली स्लो है तो वो हमारे किसी भी प्रैक्टिकल पर्पज के लिए नहीं मिलता, हम यूज कर सकते हैं उसको, पर्पज के लिए हम यूज नहीं कर सकते हैं. सिमिलर लाइक अगर कोई इंजन है, हमारे पास जो मोटरसाइकिल्स हैं, जो भी ऑटोमोबाइल व्हीकल्स हैं, अगर वो कॉस्टिस्टेटिक प्रोसेस में वर्क कर रहे होते हैं तो क्या हम यूज कर रहे होते हैं उनको? कभी यूज नहीं कर सकते. क्यों? क्योंकि कोई यूज उनका रह ही नहीं जाएगा अगर वो इन्फाइनेटली स्लो प्रोसेस पे वर्क कर रहे हैं. ओके, so I hope now you got an idea what is a quasi-static process, or what is a non-quasi-static process, and why we need to define a quasi-static process. Okay, so now we'll move to another concept, that is different approaches for analysis of system. Analysis of system. What are the different types of approach that we can use for analysis? Okay, the first one is macroscopic approach. Macroscopic approach. Okay. So you can visualize macro means a lump. Okay, means on an average. So in macroscopic approach, what we do not consider, or we do not analyze the molecular behavior of any system. We all know that any matter is made of molecules, but in case of when we are using the microscopic approach, we do not consider the molecular behavior of that matter or that system. Okay, we just take the average behavior analysis in the system. Okay, so I can write, in case of, or in this approach, the individual molecular behavior molecular behavior is not considered or is neglected. Okay, and the average behavior is considered. Okay, and this approach is as also known as classical approach. Okay, second one is, I will let you know what is the what do you mean by macroscopic and microscopic. First, let me complete the definition part. Second one is the microscopic approach. So, as the name suggests, in case of microscopic approach, we consider the individual molecular behavior. Okay, so in this approach, individual molecular behavior is taken into consideration. Okay, so now let me show you what is the difference or what do you mean by these two approaches. Okay, let us consider we have a classroom. Okay, and in the classroom students are sitting. Okay, and they are sitting freely. There is no faculty member in the inside the classroom. Okay, so if any time if I want to find out what the students who are sitting in the classroom are doing, whether they are studying or whether they are playing or something or doing something else, what I can do, I can just pass from the corridor and have a look through the windows or through the door and overall look, and I can tell that what the students inside the classroom are doing. Okay, this is the one way. क्या तरीका है कि मैं कॉरिडोर से पास होऊंगा, एक लुक देख लूंगा, ओवरऑल लुक कि ज्यादा आवाज आ रही है या क्या कहते हैं शांत बैठे हैं, क्या है, उसके हिसाब से मैं कंक्लूड कर सकता हूँ उसके अकॉर्डिंग कि स्टूडेंट्स क्या कर रहे हैं, मैं कंक्लूजन पे आ सकता हूँ. दिस इज द वन वे. सेकंड वे क्या है, दूसरा तरीका, मैं क्लासरूम के अंदर जाऊं और क्लासरूम के अंदर जाके मैं हर एक स्टूडेंट को ऑब्जर्व करूं, उसकी कॉपी देखूं और उसके हाथ में क्या है, मोबाइल से खेल रहा है या क्या कर रहा है, मोबाइल पे ध्यान है उसका कहाँ है. ये सब करने के बाद मैं कंक्लूजन पे आऊं कि ये क्लास में मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट क्या कर रहे हैं. ओके, सो देयर आर टू मेथड्स. पहले मेथड में मैंने क्या किया कि ओवरऑल क्लास को मैंने विजुलाइज किया बाहर से ऑन एन एवरेज. दूसरे मेथड में मैंने क्या किया कि मैं एक ईच इंडिविजुअल स्टूडेंट्स के पास से पास हुआ और मैंने विजुलाइज को चेक किया कि क्या कर रहा है वो एक ईच इंडिविजुअल स्टूडेंट, और तब मैंने सारे जो भी मैंने डेटा कैप्चर किया उसको मैंने एवरेज किया और मैंने कंक्लूजन दिया. ओके, सो यू कैन सी इन दिस मेथड which is pointed by red, I have taken average consideration. Okay, so this is a macroscopic approach. Okay. On the other hand, in second approach, what I have taken? I have taken each student into consideration. So this is a microscopic approach. Okay. I hope now you got a small idea what is a microscopic approach and what is macroscopic approach. Let me give you one another example. Let us take a container. Okay. And inside that container some gas is filled. Okay. And we all know that if some gas is filled, definitely there will be some molecules will be there. Number of lakhs of molecules will be there. Okay. And in previous class, one of my lecture, I have told you about the what is the pressure in case of gas. I have told you कि प्रेशर क्या है, एवरेज फोर्स जो ये मॉलिक्यूल्स अप्लाई करते हैं इस कंटेनर की वॉल पे, वो पर फोर्स पर यूनिट एरिया इज प्रेशर. ओके. सो यहाँ पे दो तरीके हैं मुझे प्रेशर फाइंड आउट करने के. पहला तरीका क्या है? फर्स्ट मेथड इज बेस्ड ऑन मैक्रोस्कोपिक अप्रोच. मैंने क्या किया, इस कंटेनर में एक प्रेशर गेज लगा दिया एंड प्रेशर गेज मुझे रीडिंग करके बता देगा इजीली कि इस जो कंटेनर में गैस है उसका इनसाइड प्रेशर क्या है. तो मैंने क्या किया, इंडिविजुअल मॉलिक्यूल की स्टडी नहीं की, मॉलिकुलर लेवल पे मैं नहीं गया स्टडी करने. मैंने ओवरऑल एक एवरेज प्रेशर मैंने प्रेशर गेज की हेल्प से मेजर कर लिया. इसको बोलेंगे हम प्रेशर गेज. प्रेशर गेज वगैरह आप लोग अभी फ्लूइड मैकेनिक्स में पढ़ेंगे अपने. ठीक है. सो मैक्रोस्कोपिक अप्रोच में मैंने क्या किया, एवरेज. ओके. ओवरऑल प्रेशर निकाला मैंने किसकी हेल्प से, प्रेशर गेज की हेल्प से. सेकंड, इफ आई वांट टू फाइंड आउट और ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ माइक्रोस्कोपिक, तब मैं क्या करूंगा, तब मैं ये करूंगा कि मैं सब इंडिविजुअल मॉलिक्यूल्स जितना फोर्स लगा रहे हैं वॉल पे, सबका फोर्स लूंगा, उस फोर्स का मैं एवरेज लूंगा और दैट एवरेज फोर्स पर यूनिट एरिया विल बी कॉल्ड एज माय प्रेशर. ओके. सो मैंने यहाँ पे क्या किया, सेकंड वाले अप्रोच में हर इंडिविजुअल मॉलिक्यूल्स का मैंने रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ मोमेंटम फाइंड आउट किया. रेट ऑफ चेंज ऑफ मोमेंटम आई नो दैट इट इज इक्वल टू फोर्स. सो हर इंडिविजुअल मॉलिक्यूल्स के इंडिविजुअल मॉलिक्यूल जो फोर्स अप्लाई कर रहा है वॉल पे कंटेनर की, मैंने वो फाइंड आउट की. उन फोर्स को फाइंड आउट करने के बाद मैंने एवरेज फोर्स फाइंड आउट किया. एवरेज फोर्स पर यूनिट एरिया से मैं क्या फाइंड आउट कर सकता हूँ, प्रेशर. एंड दिस प्रेशर एंड प्रेशर बाय माइक्रोस्कोपिक विल बी इक्वल. ये दोनों सेम ही होंगे बिकॉज इट इज अ प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ द सिस्टम. प्रेशर की वैल्यू चेंज नहीं होगी, बस क्या है, वे ऑफ एनालाइजिंग द सिस्टम is changing. In first approach, I am taking an overall approach, or in second, I am taking a molecular level. Okay. So there are some restriction when we go to analyze through when we use the microscopic approach. What is that restriction? First restriction is that if I am using a microscopic approach, then the system there should be a continuously distributed in the whole system. Means this matter, this gas should be continuously distributed in the whole system. There should be no hole. Means कि यहाँ कोई पॉइंट है जहां पर कोई भी मॉलिक्यूल्स नहीं है, वहां पॉइंट है वहां बहुत सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स है, ऐसा कुछ कंडीशन नहीं होगी। यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड होगा मैटर इनसाइड दैट सिस्टम, then only I can apply microscopic approach. Okay, so this concept is called concept of continuum. Okay, so in previous slide, let me write a point. It is the mm, related to microscopic approach. It is that it is based on the assumption that the matter is continuously distributed and there is no hole. Okay, and this validation assumption is called concept of continuum. This is known as okay. So what is the concept of continuum? Concept of continuum is this, that if I am taking a container or I am taking a glass or a bucket of water which is filled by water. Okay, just take the bucket is filled by water. Okay, so if I am taking the density of water, I am measuring the density of water. What is the density? Mass per unit volume. This is the density. Okay, so if I am taking density as a whole, means total mass and total volume, or I am taking density of this much volume or this much volume or this much mass or this much volume or this much volume, density should come equal in all these conditions. Means there should not be any place where the number of molecules or there is no molecules. If molecules are not there, the value mass will be zero, but volume it has occupied, so V will be there, so density will be zero. So this cannot take place if I am taking going through the microscopic approach. Okay, so this concept of continuum tells us that matter is continuously distributed, means uniformly distributed है, there is no holes, मतलब means there is no absence or there is no such volume where there is no molecules, मतलब ऐसा कोई भी जगह नहीं है जहाँ पे कोई मॉलिक्यूल्स नहीं है. मॉलिक्यूल्स और मैटर यूनिफॉर्मली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड हैं सिस्टम के अंदर. ओके, सो I can define density by taking whole system. I can define density by taking this much volume. I can define density taking this much volume. Okay, so this is called concept of continuum. Then let us move forward. There is a condition till when the concept of continuum is valid. There is a limitation up to which the concept of continuum is valid. That is, continuum is valid only when the mean free path mean free path, sorry, mean free path is very, very less than system dimension. Okay, so if the mean free path of molecule is very very less than the system dimension, then the concept of continuum is valid. The moment system dimensions come in comparison becomes in comparison to the mean free path means system dimensions की जो मैग्नीट्यूड है वो मैग्नीट्यूड मीन फ्री पाथ ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल के मैग्नीट्यूड के अप्रॉक्सीमेटली इक्वल और कुछ कंपैरिजन में आ जाता है, तब मेरा कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्वांटिनम वैलिड नहीं रहता. ओके, सो नाउ व्हाट इज अ मीन फ्री पाथ? सो व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय मीन फ्री पाथ? Mean free path. So mean free path is the average distance traveled by a molecule between two successive collisions. Okay, so what do you mean by mean free path? It is mean free path is represented by lambda. Means if there is a system, there are molecules. There are a number of molecules, and let us consider that this particular molecule, it's moving in this direction, it collide with this another molecule, and after colliding this molecule it has changed its direction and then it collides with this molecule. So between कितने collision हुए यहाँ पे? collision 1 and collision 2. So between successive collision जो उसने distance travel करी, ये जो distance travel करी एवरेज, इसको कहते हैं मीन फ्री पाथ. ओके, सो अगर आप पिछले जो लास्ट में हमने भी डेफिनेशन दी थी, कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्वांटिनम कब वैलिड नहीं रहता? जब मीन फ्री पाथ सिस्टम की डायमेंशन से बड़ा हो जाता है या उसके कंपैरिजन में आ जाता है. तो कंपैरिजन में आ जाएगा तो क्या प्रॉब्लम होगी? देखो, लैम्डा की वैल्यू जब कंपैरिजन में आ गई, इसका मतलब क्या है? विद सिस्टम डायमेंशन, इसका मतलब क्या है कि जो सिस्टम की डायमेंशन है उसमें मॉलिक्यूल्स, नंबर ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स की प्रोबेबिलिटी फाइंडिंग ऑफ प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ फाइंडिंग नंबर ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स क्या हो जाएगी? डिक्रीज हो जाएगी. व्हाई? बिकॉज अभी सिस्टम की डायमेंशन ये है, अगर मैं डायमेंशन को छोटा छोटा करता जाऊं उस पर, लेट मी टेक अनदर डायमेंशन, लेट मी टेक ओनली दिस मच डायमेंशन, ये मेरी सिस्टम की डायमेंशन होगी, ये मेरा नया सिस्टम है. तो क्या होगा? यहाँ पे सिर्फ कितना है? सिर्फ एक मॉलिक्यूल्स है. तो कोई भी इंटरेक्शन करने के लिए मैंने क्या करा, इसको कंटिन्यूस नहीं रह गया. अब यहाँ पे सिर्फ मॉलिक्यूल है लेकिन बाकी जगह में कोई भी मॉलिक्यूल नहीं है. ओके, सो दैट्स वाई अगर लैम्डा बिकम्स कंपेरेबल विद system dimensions, then concept of or continuum, concept of continuum fails. We cannot apply the concept of continuum. अगर लैम्डा की वैल्यू मीन फ्री पाथ ऑफ मॉलिक्यूल्स की वैल्यू सिस्टम डायमेंशन के कंपेरेबल हो जाती है तो हम कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ कॉन्टिनम अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते. क्यों नहीं अप्लाई कर सकते? क्योंकि आप उस सिस्टम डायमेंशन में आपको प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ फाइंडिंग मॉलिक्यूल्स इन दैट सिस्टम विल बी ड्रास्टिकली डिक्रीज. ओके, जब मॉलिक्यूल कंटिन्यूसली डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है ही नहीं, तो हम ऑब्वियस सी बात है कि कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्वांटिनम अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते, एंड इफ कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ क्वांटिनम अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते तो हम माइक्रोस्कोपिक अप्रोच को यूज नहीं कर सकते उन दैट केस. ओके, so if the concept of quantum is not applied, then we use one another theory that is beyond this scope of this subject, that is called rarefied gas flow theory. Rarefied you can easily see. Rarefied means जो molecules हैं dense नहीं है, it is opposite of dense. Rarefied means molecules are far away from each other. In that case we use rarefied gas flow theory. Okay, and mainly it is applied in case of space applications. In case of space applications. Okay, so that's it for the microscopic and macroscopic approach. There is next topic, which is what do you mean by, you will come through one definition or one term, exact and inexact differential. इसका मतलब क्या है? What do you mean by exact and inexact differential? Maybe you people would have read it into your mathematics subject, but let me give you a brief idea. What do you mean by exact or inexact differential? Okay, so if I am talking about exact differential, okay, so first of all let me tell you, exact differential is represented by, in case of thermodynamics, del D. So dx. Okay, so if I want to find out the change in any exact differential, I can just find out x2 minus x1. दिस इज द एग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल, मींस फाइनल पोजीशन में क्या वैल्यू थी उसकी, उसमें से मैंने इनिशियल पोजीशन को सब्ट्रैक्ट किया, दैट इज एग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल. सेकंड वन, इनएग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल. सो इन केस ऑफ इनएग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल आई कैन नॉट, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल I should write it as delta. Okay, and I cannot write z2 minus z1, means डायरेक्टली मैं फाइनल पोजीशन से इनिशियल पोजीशन को सब्ट्रैक्ट करूंगा तो मैं डेल्टा जेड फाइंड आउट नहीं कर सकता. कैसे? लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल. ओके, let us consider again I am moving from point A to point B. Okay, and this is the x direction. So I am moving from point A to point B. So if I have gone from point A to point B, the total distance I have covered is xb minus xa. Okay, and net distance what I have covered is, और नेट डिस्टेंस में डिस्प्लेसमेंट कर लेते हैं, नेट सॉरी net distance is same again, xb minus xa. ओके, बट अगर मैं ए पॉइंट से बी पॉइंट तक गया एंड देन अगेन ए पॉइंट से फिर सॉरी बी पॉइंट से ए पॉइंट वापस आ गया। सो टोटल डिस्टेंस क्या हो जाएगी, पहले मैं यहां से यहां गया, सो एक्स बी माइनस एक्स से, फिर मैं यहां से यहां आया, तो फिर से अगेन एक्स बी माइनस एक्स से, तो टोटल डिस्टेंस क्या हो गई मेरी ट्रेवल्ड, टू एक्स बी माइनस एक्स ए। बट यहां पे क्या हुआ, यहां पे टोटल डिस्टेंस क्या हो गई, पहले मैं यहां से सॉरी नेट डिस्टेंस, मैं जहां पे था उसी पॉइंट पर फिर से आ गया, तो नेट डिस्टेंस मेरी क्या हो गई, जीरो हो गई। ओके, सो in case of net distance it is an exact quantity, exact differential। अगर मैं नेट डिस्टेंस फाइंड आउट करने जा रहा हूं तो इट इज एन एग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल, बट अगर मैं टोटल डिस्टेंस फाइंड आउट करने जा रहा हूं तो दैट इज एन इन एग्जैक्ट डिफरेंशियल। हाउ, इन केस ऑफ टोटल डिस्टेंस अगर मैं फाइंड आउट करता हूं तो क्या होगा, मुझे टोटल डिस्टेंस फाइंड आउट करना है, सो व्हाट आई विल राइट, ए से बी dx, पहले मैं ए से बी गया, प्लस फिर मैं बी से ए आया, तो बी टू ए, but this time dx will be negative। Why? Because I am coming in reverse direction, so what will be the net distance, 2 xb minus xa। Okay, so you can see in case of total distance it is not 0, but in case of net distance it is 0। Okay, so that means in case of net distance it is depending only the final or initial position of the system। सिस्टम इनिशियल में कहा था और फाइनल में कहा था। Okay, but in case of total distance it is depending, sorry, it is also depending on the path that it has followed। means पहले मैं यहां से यहां गया, फिर यहां से यहां आया, so this one is positive and this one is negative। okay, but in this case जब मैं सेकंड केस करूंगा तो फाइनल पोजीशन मेरी क्या है, एक्स ए है, इनिशियल पोजीशन मेरी क्या थी, एक्स ए, so the net displacement will be 0। okay, now let us take another example, or let me give you a brief idea about the differential, exact differential। Let us take we have a function f which is a function of x and y। okay, so if I want to find out differential or total differential or total difference of df, so what I can write, df is equal to del f over del x into dx plus del f over del y into dy। I hope this you know, when I am putting the partial difference on, that means x is constant। Similarly here when I am putting partial difference, that means y is constant। okay, so now let me consider this as m dx and this as m dy। so df is equal to m dx and dy। so what is m? M is del f over del x at constant y। what is n? N is del f over del y at constant x। now I want to find out del m over del y। क्या हो जाएगा यहाँ से इक्वेशन वन से, सॉरी दिस इक्वेशन से क्या हो जाएगा, del स्क्वायर f over del y del x, and I want to find out del n over del x। then what will be the value, del square f over del x del y। From this equation A and this equation B, from equation A and B, we can easily see कि del m over del y and del n over del x are equal. Del m over del y is equal to del n over del x. So agar if this condition is being satisfied, then the equation is called as exact differential. If this equation is not satisfied, this condition is not being satisfied, then that is called inexact differential. Let me give you one example, one real example of function. Let us say function f is equal to e की power x sin y. Okay, so sorry, capital F I should write. So if I want to find out df, what will be the df? Del f over del x dx plus del f over del y dy. Okay, now this del f over del x I have considered what? M. So m, if I find out what will be the m, del f over del x, means considering y constant, I will differentiate this function as with respect to x. So what will come? E की power x sin y. Similarly, if I want to find n, so n will be del f over del y, keeping x constant, so e की power x will be constant, sin y is equal to, differentiation is cos y. Okay, now if I want to find out del m over del y, क्या condition, what was the condition? Del m over del y is equal to del n over del x. So if I want to find out del m over del y, what will be the value? इसको फिर से मैं किसके रिस्पेक्ट में डिफरेंशिएट करूंगा? y के रिस्पेक्ट में, e को कांस्टेंट ट्रीट करते हुए. सो व्हाट विल बी द वैल्यू? e की पावर x cos y and del n over del x. What will be the value? e की पावर x cos y. इन दोनों इक्वेशन से आप इजीली देख सकते हैं कि del m over del y is equal to del n over del x, means this is an exact differential. Okay, this function is a exact function. Okay, so now what is the what is that means? That means if I want to find out df, I will put the value of df over del x. What is that? Ex की power x d sin y. So e की power x sin y dx plus df over del y e की power x cos y dy. Okay, so this equation I can easily write what? D e की power x sin y. Are you able to see? Why? Because अगर मैं e की power x sin y का डिफरेंशिएशन करूंगा तो फर्स्ट बाय प्रोडक्ट रूल, इफ आई एम डिफरेंशिएटिंग इट विद रिस्पेक्ट टू x फर्स्टली, सो e की power x का डिफरेंशिएशन e की power x and x का डिफरेंशिएशन dx, then sin y will be treated as constant. Then if I am again differentiating it with respect to y, so e की power x will be treated as constant, sin y differentiation is cos y into dy. So this I can write. And if I want to find out what is the difference of f from 1 to 2 df, so here I can easily write 1 to 2 d e की power x sin y, or that you can easily write down delta f is equal to e की power x sin y at point 2 minus e की power x sin y at point 1. ये कैसे लिख दिया मैंने? You all know, if I am writing, sorry, if I am writing integration dx, so dx का इंटीग्रेशन क्या होता है x. Similarly, d e की पावर x sin y का डिफरेंशिएशन क्या होगा e की पावर x sin y. एंड जब मैं लिमिट पुट कर रहा हूं तो 2 minus 1. And this is what value of function at point 2 minus value of function at point 1. ओके, सो अगर मैं डेल्टा एफ फाइंड आउट करना चाह रहा हूं तो डायरेक्टली कैसे फाइंड आउट हो रहा है f2 माइनस f1. ये क्यों हो रहा है? क्योंकि f इज अ एग्जैक्ट फंक्शन. अगर ये एग्जैक्ट फंक्शन नहीं होता तो मैं डायरेक्ट f2 माइनस f1 करके फाइंड आउट नहीं कर सकता हूं. लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ inexact. So let's take yx. Okay, so there is a parabola and equation of this parabola is y square is equal to 4ax. Okay, now you have been told to find out the area of this parabola from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to, let us say, a. Okay, and the upper half means this much area. If you want to calculate this much area, if you are told, so what you will do? We all know what you will do. We'll take a strip, small strip of thickness dx, and this height of the thickness is y. So what will the area of this thickness? dA will be y into dx. And if I want to find out the whole area, so what I will do? Area total is equal to integration from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to a y into dx. Now you can see we cannot integrate this expression until or unless we don't know the relation between y and x. Okay, means अगर सिस्टम यहां से यहां मूव कर रहा है, सो किस पाथ के थ्रू मूव कर रहा है अगर वो मुझे नहीं पता है, मींस दिस इक्वेशन नहीं पता है y स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू 4x, तब तक मैं इस इंटीग्रेशन को इवेल्युएट नहीं कर सकता. यहां मुझे पता है कि y स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू 4x है, तो y इज इक्वल टू विल बी अंडर रूट 4ax इंटू dx, एंड x की वैल्यू कहां से कहां 0 टू a वेरी कर रही है. सो नाउ I can easily calculate what will be the value of area. But if I don't know the relation between y and x, then I cannot calculate the area. Okay, so this is an example of inexact differential, which is a path dependent. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture. Thank you.